The transport ship shook as it entered the atmosphere of Threshold 7. Lieutenant Wasn gripped his rifle tighter and looked out the window. Below him, the planet looked dead. Smoke rose from burning forests. Cities were just piles of broken buildings. This was what happened when the Vrath Empire came through a sector. 2 minutes to landing zone, the pilot announced over the comm system. Wasn glanced at the young soldier sitting across from him. Private Yoon looked nervous. It was his first real deployment. The kid had probably imagined glory and heroism when he signed up. War wasn't like that. War was dirt and blood and watching your friends die for a piece of ground that didn't even have a name. Stay close to me when we land, Wasn told him. Don't try to be a hero. Specialist Hana sat next to Yoon, checking her communication equipment. She had been with Wasn for 3 years now. She knew how to stay alive. Her fingers moved quickly over the control panel, scanning for signals on the surface. I'm getting something weird, she said, frowning at her screen. Weird how? Captain Tae-hyun asked from the front of the transport. He was their commander, a tall man with gray at his temples and a scar across his left cheek. There's an active defense grid in grid sector 47, Hana replied. It's still broadcasting a signal. That's impossible, Tae-hyun said. This planet fell 3 months ago. Nothing should be active down there. Well, something is, Hana insisted. The signal is on repeat. It says position holding. Reinforcements requested. Will maintain defensive perimeter. Wasn felt a chill run down his spine. He had heard stories about automated systems that kept running after everyone was dead. Ghost positions, soldiers called them. They were usually traps. The Vrath liked to use human technology against them. Could be a trap, Wasn said. Could be, Tae-hyun agreed, but we need to check it out. That grid sector controls the approach to the valley. If there's anything functional there, we need to know about it. The transport landed hard on a flat piece of ground that used to be a landing pad. Now it was cracked and covered with blast marks. The rear door opened and Wasn led his team out into the ash-filled air. The smell hit him first. Burned metal, burned plastic, burned things he didn't want to think about. He pulled his scarf up over his nose and mouth. Spread out, Tae-hyun ordered. Stay alert. They moved through the ruins carefully. Buildings were just shells now. Vehicles lay on their sides, stripped of anything useful. This place had been hit hard and picked clean, but there were no bodies. That was strange. Usually the Vrath left the bodies where they fell. Signal is getting stronger, Hana said. 200 meters northeast. They moved toward the coordinates. Wasn noticed something odd. There were pieces of Vrath armor scattered on the ground. Blast marks on the walls, shell casings everywhere. Someone had fought here. Someone had fought here recently. Then he saw the first trap. It was simple but effective. A tripwire connected to a cluster of grenades. He raised his fist, stopping the squad. Trap, he called out. Watch your step. They found 3 more traps in the next 50 meters. Each one was different. Each one was placed to catch someone who avoided the last one. Whoever made these knew what they were doing. This doesn't feel like a Vrath setup, Yoon said quietly. No. Wasn agreed. It doesn't. They reached a building that looked like it used to be a command post. The walls were reinforced concrete, scarred with bullet impacts and scorch marks. Sandbags were piled around the entrance. More Vrath armor pieces lay scattered around, some still smoking. Hello? Tae-hyun called out. This is Captain Tae-hyun of the Coalition 5th Fleet. We're here to help. For a moment there was silence. Then a voice came from inside the building. It was hoarse and tired. Identify yourself properly. Give me your authorization code. Tae-hyun blinked in surprise. He rattled off his code quickly. Another moment of silence. Then the voice said, Authorization confirmed. You can come in, but keep your hands where I can see them. They entered carefully. The inside of the building was dark except for a few emergency lights. Equipment was stacked everywhere. Ammunition boxes, medical supplies, food containers, and weapons. So many weapons. Some were Coalition issue, some were Vrath. All of them looked well maintained. In the center of the room, behind a makeshift barricade, sat a man. He was young, maybe 25. His uniform was torn and dirty. His face was thin and covered with a rough beard. His eyes were red from lack of sleep, but his rifle was clean and pointed steadily at them. Corporal Jinwoo, the man said. Coalition Army, 3rd Battalion Echo Company. Reporting for duty, sir. Wasn stared at him. One man. One man had been holding this position? Where's the rest of your unit, Corporal? Tae-hyun asked gently. Jin-woo's jaw tightened. Dead, sir. Killed in the initial assault 83 days ago. Lieutenant Sung-min ordered me to hold this position until reinforcements arrived. So I held it. 83 days? Hana whispered. Alone? Yes, ma'am, Jin-woo replied. He finally lowered his rifle. I sent daily reports. I requested extraction 17 times. I assumed command decided the position wasn't worth the resources to relieve me. Tae-hyun's face went pale. Corporal, we wrote this entire sector off as lost. We didn't know anyone was still here. Jin-woo nodded slowly. I see, sir. Well, I'm still here, and so is this position. Daewon walked to the window and looked out. Now that he knew what to look for, he could see it. The whole area was a killing field. Every approach was covered. Every angle had a trap or a weapon position. The Vrath armor pieces weren't random. They were warnings. They showed where attacks had failed. How many times did they attack? Daewon asked. 17 waves, Jin-woo answered. The first 5 were probing attacks. The next 8 were full assaults. The last 4 were desperate attempts to take the position before you arrived. Before we arrived? Tae-hyun repeated. You knew we were coming? I picked up your ship's transmission 3 days ago, Jin-woo explained. The Vrath must have picked it up too. They tried to take this position before you could reinforce it. Yoon walked around the room looking at everything. Why is this position so important? He asked. Jin-woo pointed to a map on the wall. This command post controls the artillery grid for the entire valley. If you hold this position, you can hit targets in a 50-kilometer radius. If the Vrath held it, they could have stopped any coalition landing in 3 sectors. Daewon felt his stomach drop. One man, one tired, wounded man had held a position that controlled 3 entire sectors. If Jin-woo had given up, if he had retreated, if he had died, the coalition wouldn't have been able to land anywhere in this region. We need to report this, Hana said quietly. Agreed, Tae-hyun replied. He looked at Jin-woo. Corporal, you need medical attention. We're going to get you out of here. Jin-woo shook his head. With respect, sir, I need to stay. I know every weakness in these defenses. I know how the Vrath attack. If they come again, you'll need me here. They won't come again, Tae-hyun said. We have 200 soldiers landing within the hour. Jin-woo's expression didn't change. Sir, they have 2,000 warriors staged 15 kilometers east of here. I've been monitoring their communications. They were waiting for reinforcements before their next assault. Now that you're here, they'll attack soon. Probably tonight. The room went quiet. Everyone looked at Jin-woo. Then they looked at Tae-hyun. The captain took a deep breath. Show me everything, he said. Show me how you held this position for 83 days. Because it looks like we're going to need to hold it again. Jin-woo stood up slowly. His legs shook, but he steadied himself. Yes, sir, he said. This way. As they followed him deeper into the command post, Daewon realized something. They hadn't found an abandoned position. They had found a soldier who simply refused to quit, and now they were going to find out if that stubbornness could save them all. Jin-woo led them through the command post, pointing out each defensive position. His movements were careful and precise, like a man who had memorized every inch of ground. Daewon watched him closely. The corporal was running on fumes, but his mind was still sharp. The Vrath usually attack in 3 waves, Jin-woo explained. The first wave tests your defenses. They look for weak points. The second wave hits those weak points hard. The third wave comes from wherever you're not looking. Captain Tae-hyun studied the map that Jin-woo had marked up over the past months. Red circles showed where attacks had come from. Black X marks showed where Vrath warriors had died. There were hundreds of black marks. How did you survive the first attack? Tae-hyun asked. Jin-woo's face went distant. Hana noticed his hands tighten on his rifle. Whatever had happened that day still haunted him. We didn't, Jin-woo said quietly. Most of us didn't. He walked to a corner of the room where several helmets sat on a shelf. Each one had a name written on it in marker. Sung-min, Mi-rae, Tae-young, Dal. 6 names total. We were a 7-person team, Jin-woo continued, assigned to maintain and protect the artillery grid. It was supposed to be a quiet post. The front lines were 300 kilometers away. Then the Vrath broke through faster than anyone expected. Private Yoon sat down on a supply crate, listening carefully. He needed to hear this. They all did. Lieutenant Sung-min was our commander, Jin-woo said. Good man, fair. He got the alert that Vrath forces were pushing into our sector. He ordered us to prepare the defenses and sent a request for extraction. Command said they'd send ships within 6 hours. But the Wrath arrived first, Daewon guessed. In 3 hours, Jinwoo confirmed. They hit us with artillery first, then dropships. We fought them in the courtyard outside. Taeyang died in the first minute. Dao made it 5 minutes. We fell back to this building. He walked to the window and looked out at the killing field he had created. Mireille was our heavy weapons specialist. She held them off while we set up inside. She died buying us time. Lieutenant Sungmin took shrapnel to the chest. He was bleeding bad. Hana pulled out her medical scanner and pointed it at Jinwoo. When was the last time you slept? She asked. I sleep 2 hours a day, Jinwoo replied. In shifts. 30 minutes at a time. That's not enough, Hana said. It's what I have, Jinwoo answered simply. Taehyun cleared his throat. What happened to your lieutenant? Jinwoo closed his eyes. He knew he was dying. We all knew it. We had 2 wounded soldiers who could still move. Lieutenant Sungmin ordered me to get them to the extraction point 2 kilometers south. He said he would hold the position until I got back. But you didn't go, Daewon said. It wasn't a question. I did go, Jinwoo corrected. I got them to the extraction point. But there were no ships. The Wrath had shot them down. I made a choice. I could stay with the wounded and hope for rescue, or I could go back and help my lieutenant. You went back, Yoon said. I went back. Jinwoo agreed. I found Lieutenant Sungmin in this room. He was barely conscious. The Wrath were preparing for another assault. He looked at me and said, Someone has to hold this position. The artillery grid controls the whole valley approach. If we lose it, thousands of soldiers die. The room was silent except for the hum of equipment and the distant sound of wind outside. He made me promise, Jinwoo continued. Made me swear I would hold until reinforcements came. Then he died, so I held. Taehyun rubbed his face with both hands. Corporal, you should have retreated. Command had already written this sector off. You couldn't have known we would come back. I made a promise, sir, Jinwoo said. His voice was flat, matter-of-fact. Lieutenant Sungmin gave me an order. Hold the position until relieved. I wasn't relieved, so I held. Daewon understood then. Jinwoo wasn't a hero. He wasn't special. He was just a soldier who followed his orders. It was that simple and that complicated. Show us the artillery grid, Taehyun said. Jinwoo led them down a stairway to a lower level. The walls here were thicker, reinforced with metal plating that Jinwoo had scavenged. The artillery control system took up an entire room. Screens showed targeting data. Communication arrays connected to weapons positions across the valley. The Wrath tried to destroy this system in every attack, Jinwoo explained. They sent saboteurs. They tried hacking it. They even sent a bomb drone once. But the system has redundancies. I kept it online. Hana moved to the main console and started checking the systems. This is incredible, she said. Most of the grid is still functional. With a full crew, we could provide fire support for any operation in this entire region. That's why they kept attacking, Jinwoo said. They couldn't advance while this position threatened them. And they couldn't ignore it because it controlled too much territory. So they tried to kill you, Yoon said. 17 times, Jinwoo replied. They failed 17 times. Daewon walked around the room examining the defenses. How did you do it? You're one man against hundreds, Jinwoo shrugged. I didn't fight fair. I used the terrain, set traps, made them think I had more soldiers than I did. I fired from different positions to confuse them, used their own weapons against them, learned their tactics and adapted. You turned this place into a fortress, Taehyun observed. I turned it into a nightmare, Jinwoo corrected. Every Wrath warrior who came here knew they might not leave. After the 10th assault failed, they started hesitating. Fear became my best weapon. Hana looked up from her console. Captain, I'm getting reports from our landing force. They're detecting Wrath movement. Multiple contacts moving toward this position. How many? Taehyun asked. Hundreds, Hana replied. Maybe thousands. They're forming up for a major assault. Jinwoo checked his rifle and moved toward the stairs. They know you're here now. They'll hit us with everything they have. They can't let this position stand with a full coalition force defending it. We need to evacuate, Taehyun said. Get our forces back to the ships. And give up the artillery grid? Jinwoo asked. Sir, if they take this position, they can shell our ships before they even take off. We have to hold. Daewon saw the calculation happening behind Taehyun's eyes. The captain was weighing options. Retreat and lose the tactical advantage. Stay and risk everything. We hold, Taehyun decided. Get all units to this position. We dig in and we hold. Yes, sir, Hana said, already sending orders through her comm. Jin-woo nodded. I'll show your soldiers the defensive positions. They need to know where to shoot and where not to step. As Jin-woo started giving orders to the arriving soldiers, Daewon pulled Taehyun aside. He's going to get himself killed, Daewon said quietly. He's exhausted. He's wounded. He's running on willpower alone. I know, Taehyun replied. But right now he's the only one who knows how to defend this place. We need him. What happens when we don't need him anymore? Daewon asked. Taehyun didn't have an answer. Outside, the sun was setting. Jin-woo stood on the wall looking east toward where the Wrath forces were gathering. More coalition soldiers were arriving every minute. 200 trained warriors ready to fight. Private Yoon climbed up next to him. Are you scared? The young soldier asked. Jin-woo thought about it. No, he said finally. I was scared for the first month. Then I was too tired to be scared. Now I'm just ready for this to be over. Did you ever think about leaving? Yoon asked. 83 days is a long time to be alone. Every day, Jin-woo admitted. Every single day. But then I'd remember Lieutenant Sung-min. I'd remember Mi Rae-dal and Taeyang. They died holding this position. If I left, they died for nothing. Yoon looked at the battlefield, at the traps in the killing zones and the blood-stained ground. You held for them, he said. I held for everyone, Jin-woo replied. For the soldiers who needed this artillery grid. For the people back home who counted on us. For everyone who believed that some positions are worth defending. The sun disappeared below the horizon. Darkness came quickly, and with the darkness came the sound of Wrath war drums beating in the distance. Jin-woo picked up his rifle. They're coming, he said. Get ready. Yoon hurried to his position. Across the defensive line, coalition soldiers checked their weapons and prepared for battle. They were ready to fight. But only one of them had already proven he would never stop fighting. Only one of them had held this ground for 83 days alone, and now Jin-woo thought he didn't have to hold it alone anymore. The attack came at midnight. Jin-woo heard it before he saw it, the sound of hundreds of feet moving through the darkness, the clicking sounds that Wrath warriors made when they communicated. He had learned their language over 83 days. Not words, but meanings. The clicks meant they were splitting into attack groups. East side and north side, Jin-woo called out. They're trying to hit us from 2 directions. Major Kyung-soo had arrived an hour earlier with the main force. He was a career officer who believed in military doctrine and proper tactics. He looked at Jin-woo with barely concealed irritation. How can you possibly know that? Kyung-soo demanded. Listen, Jin-woo said. The clicking pattern. 3 short, 1 long. That's how they coordinate split formations. Kyung-soo opened his mouth to argue, then closed it. The man had held this position for 83 days. Maybe he knew something. All units prepare for assault from east and north, Kyung-soo ordered into his comm. The first artillery shell hit 30 seconds later. It exploded in the courtyard, spraying dirt and shrapnel. Then another. And another. The Wrath were softening them up before the main assault. Get down. Daewon shouted to the soldiers around him. Jin-woo didn't get down. He stayed at his position, watching the darkness. He had learned to read the Wrath attacks. The artillery was just noise. The real danger would come after it stopped. The shelling lasted 5 minutes. Then silence. That was the signal. Here they come, Jin-woo said quietly. They came like a wave of darkness. Wrath warriors were tall creatures nearly 7 feet high, with 4 arms and thick armor plating on their bodies. They moved fast despite their size. Their weapons glowed in the darkness, energy rifles that could punch through concrete. Jin-woo fired first. His shot took down the lead warrior. Then the entire defensive line opened up. The night lit up with gunfire. The Wrath hit Jin-woo's traps almost immediately. Explosions blossomed across the killing field. Warriors fell, but more kept coming. They climbed over their own dead without hesitation. They're not slowing down, Yoon shouted from his position. They won't, Jin-woo replied, firing steadily. They're testing our firepower, seeing how much ammunition we use. Specialist Jae-won was on the heavy weapon, a mounted gun that could fire hundreds of rounds per minute. He swept it across the advancing enemy, cutting them down in groups. But for every Wrath that fell, 2 more appeared. We can't keep this up. Someone shouted. Yes, we can, Jin-woo said. His voice was calm. He had done this 17 times before. They'll pull back in 90 seconds. This is just the first wave, Kyung-soo stared at him. How do you know? Because that's what they always do, Jin-woo replied. Exactly 90 seconds later, the Wrath warriors pulled back into the darkness. They left 50 dead on the field but took no wounded. The Wrath didn't believe in retreat with casualties. Reload, Jin-woo ordered. Check your ammunition. Drink water. They'll hit us again in 10 minutes. The coalition soldiers scrambled to follow his instructions. Kyung-soo watched them obeying a corporal's orders instead of his own. Part of him was angry. Part of him was grateful. The corporal knew this enemy better than anyone. Hana was in the communication room below, coordinating with the artillery grid. We have targeting data on their staging area, she reported. Should we fire? Not yet, Jin-woo said. They're expecting that. They'll have moved their main force after the first attack failed. Let them commit to the second wave first. Listen to him, Taehyun ordered. He's kept this position alive for 3 months. His instincts are good. The second wave came exactly 10 minutes later. This time, the Wrath didn't use artillery first. They came in silence, trying to catch the defenders off guard. But Jin-woo was ready. Fire, he shouted. The defensive line erupted again. This wave was larger. The Wrath pushed harder, getting closer to the walls. Some of them made it to the building before being cut down. Their energy weapons burned through sandbags and concrete. A Wrath warrior climbed over the east wall. It raised its weapon toward Yoon. Daewon shot it twice, knocking it back. Another came over. Then another. The defense was breaking. Fall back to secondary positions, Kyung-soo ordered. No, Jin-woo countermanded. If we fall back now, they'll swarm us. Hold the wall. That's an order, Corporal. Kyung-soo snapped. Jin-woo ignored him. He ran along the wall, firing at every Wrath that appeared. Jae-won kept the heavy weapon firing. Daewon and Yoon held their section. The wall held by inches. Then the Wrath pulled back again. Slower this time. They had taken heavy losses. The field was covered with their dead. They're regrouping, Jin-woo said. He was breathing hard now. The third wave will be the real one. They'll hit us with everything. Kyung-soo walked up to him, face red with anger. You countermanded my order. Yes, sir, Jin-woo replied. I could have you court-martialed. Yes, sir. After we survive this, Kyung-soo wanted to yell. He wanted to put this corporal in his place. But every soldier on that wall was alive because Jin-woo had known exactly what to do. The major swallowed his pride. What do we do about the third wave? Kyung-soo asked. Jin-woo pointed to the map. They'll try to flank us from the south. They always do on the third wave. We need 20 soldiers moved to that position, and we need to fire the artillery grid now. Target coordinates I marked earlier. You marked coordinates? Hana asked. After every attack, I marked where they staged their forces, Jin-woo explained. They use the same positions. Old habit that will cost them. Hana sent the firing orders. 30 seconds later, artillery shells screamed overhead. They landed 3 kilometers away in the forest where the Wrath had been gathering. Explosions lit up the night sky. The clicking sounds from the darkness changed. Became frantic, confused. We hit them, Jin-woo said with satisfaction. Their command structure just took damage. The third wave came anyway, but it was disorganized. Warriors attacked in small groups instead of coordinated formations. The southern flank that Jin-woo had reinforced held off their flanking attempt. Jae-won's heavy weapon did devastating work on the scattered attackers. Private Bo-ra, the medic, worked frantically behind the lines. Soldiers were getting wounded now. Not many, but enough. She moved from person to person, patching holes and keeping people fighting. She found Jin-woo reloading his rifle. His hands were shaking. You're exhausted, she said. I'm fine, Jin-woo replied. You're not fine. You need rest. After this is over. If you collapse, you can't help anyone, Bo-ra argued. Jin-woo looked at her. His eyes were hollow. If I rest, I see them. Mirai, Lieutenant Sungmin. All of them. It's better if I keep moving. Bo-ra understood then. He wasn't just fighting the Wrath. He was fighting his own memories. The guilt of being the only one who survived. The third wave broke after 30 minutes. The Wrath pulled back completely this time. They left 200 dead on the field. The coalition had lost 8 soldiers. 30 more were wounded. We held, Yoon said in disbelief. We actually held. Of course we held, Jin-woo said. He was sitting now, his back against the wall. He looked like he might fall asleep right there. That's what we do. Kyung-soo approached him. You were right about everything. The timing. The tactics. The artillery strike. I should have listened from the start, Jinwoo shrugged. You're a major. I'm a corporal. You had no reason to trust me. I do now, Kyung-soo said. He held out his hand. Jinwoo looked at it for a moment, then shook it. Daewon was checking the perimeter when he found something disturbing. He called Taehyun over. What is it? The captain asked. Look at the Vrath positions, Daewon said. They're not retreating. They're repositioning. Taehyun pulled out his binoculars. In the distance, through the smoke and darkness, he could see movement. Lots of movement. The Vrath weren't done. They were bringing in more forces. How many? Taehyun asked. I don't know, Daewon replied, but it's more than we can handle. Hana intercepted a Vrath communication and translated it. Her face went pale. They're calling in their reserve force. 2,000 warriors. They're going to hit us at dawn. Taehyun climbed up to where Jinwoo was resting. We need to evacuate, he said. We can't fight 2,000 warriors. Jinwoo opened his eyes. The artillery grid. We can destroy it before we leave. No, Jinwoo said. He struggled to his feet. If we destroy it, they win. They can advance through this valley unopposed. Thousands of coalition soldiers will die in other sectors. If we stay, we all die here, Taehyun argued. Maybe, Jinwoo agreed. Or maybe we hold again. You held against small attacks, Taehyun said. This is different. This is their full force. Jinwoo walked to the wall and looked out at the battlefield, at the positions he had defended for 83 days, at the ground soaked with blood, both human and Vrath. I was ordered to hold this position until relieved, he said quietly. I'm still holding. If you want to evacuate, I understand, but I'm staying. Daewon, who had followed them up, spoke up. If he stays, I stay. Me too, Yoon added. One by one, soldiers spoke up. They had watched Jinwoo fight. They had learned from him, and now they would stand with him. Taehyun looked at his soldiers, then at Jinwoo, then at the horizon where dawn would soon break. We hold, he decided. Everyone prepare for the fight of your lives, because when the sun comes up, all hell is coming with it. Dawn came with blood-red light. Jinwoo stood on the wall watching the Vrath army gather in the distance. He had never seen so many of them in one place. They covered the ground like a dark carpet, stretching back as far as he could see. 2,000, Hana confirmed from her scanner. Maybe more. They're bringing everything they have. Captain Taehyun stood next to Jinwoo. We need a miracle, he said. We need a plan, Jinwoo replied. They gathered in the command room. All the officers, Daewon, Hana, Jaewon, even young Yoon was there. They looked at the map that Jinwoo had been marking for 3 months. We can't fight them head-on, Major Kyung-soo said. They'll overrun us in minutes. Then we don't fight them head-on, Jinwoo said. He pointed to the map. The artillery grid I've been protecting. I never used its full power. I was saving it. Saving it for what? Taehyun asked. For this, Jinwoo replied. He traced lines across the map. The grid can hit the entire valley, but it needs 6 hours to fully charge for a massive bombardment. Someone needs to hold the main control station here while it charges. He pointed to his original position, the one he had defended for 83 days. It was 2 kilometers away from their current location, deep in Vrath-controlled territory. That's suicide, Daewon said. Yes, Jinwoo agreed. But if we can charge the grid fully, we can destroy most of their army before they reach our main position. The survivors won't be able to take us. How many people would need to hold that position? Kyung-soo asked. Jinwoo was quiet for a moment. 1 person could do it. I did it before. Not against 2,000 warriors, Taehyun said. Then send more, Jinwoo replied. But not too many. We need soldiers here to defend the main position. They argued for 10 minutes. Every option was bad. Every plan had fatal flaws. Finally, Jinwoo stood up. I'll go, he said. It's my position. I know every inch of it. Send 3 soldiers with me. We can hold long enough. I'll go, Daewon said immediately. Me too, Jaewon added. He patted his heavy weapon. I've gotten used to shooting these things. Everyone looked at Yoon. The young private swallowed hard. He was scared. They could all see it. But he stood up anyway. I'll go too, Yoon said. Someone needs to watch these old guys. Jinwoo almost smiled. Almost. 4 soldiers to hold against an army, Kyung-soo said. This is insane. This whole situation is insane, Jinwoo replied. I've been living in insane for 83 days. 4 is better than 1. Taehyun didn't like it. but they had no other choice. You have 6 hours, he said. After that we fire everything. With or without you. Understood, Jinwoo said. They left at 600 hours. The sun was fully up now. The 4 soldiers moved through the ruins carefully, using the paths that Jinwoo had mapped. They avoided the Wrath patrols through pure luck and skill. They reached the original command post at 0645, Jinwoo's home for 3 months. It looked worse than before. More damage from the recent fighting, but the artillery control system was still intact. Hana, we're in position, Jinwoo said into his comm. Copy that, Hana's voice crackled back. Starting the charge sequence now. You have 6 hours. Try to stay alive. We'll do our best, Jinwoo replied. Jaewon set up his heavy weapon at the main entrance. Daewon took the east wall. Yoon covered the west. Jinwoo moved between positions, checking everything. They'll detect the power surge in about 20 minutes, Jinwoo said. Then they'll come for us. How long do you think we can hold? Yoon asked. Jinwoo checked his ammunition. As long as we need to. The Wrath detected the power surge in 18 minutes. Jinwoo saw them react. The massive army that had been preparing to attack the main coalition position suddenly changed direction. Toward them. Here they come, Daewon said. All of them, Jaewon added. 2,000 Wrath warriors turned as one and began advancing on the command post. Jinwoo felt his stomach drop. He had faced hundreds before. Never thousands. Never an entire army focused on just him. Second thoughts? Daewon asked. Too late for that, Jinwoo replied. The first wave hit them at 0720. 50 Wrath warriors probing their defenses. Jinwoo's traps did good work. Explosions cut down 20 before they got close. Jaewon's heavy weapon took down 15 more. The rest fell to rifle fire. 5 hours and 40 minutes to go, Hana's voice said over the comm. The second wave came 10 minutes later. 100 warriors. They pushed harder. Got closer. Jaewon's weapon overheated and he had to switch to his rifle. They held but barely. This is bad, Yoon said. His hands were shaking as he reloaded. This is normal, Jinwoo corrected. You get used to it. I don't want to get used to it, Yoon replied. Then we better survive this, Jinwoo said. The third wave was 300 warriors. They came from all sides at once. Jaewon's heavy weapon was working again, but it wasn't enough. Warriors reached the walls. Climbed over. Daewon shot one point blank. Then another. Yoon fought hand-to-hand with a Wrath that got too close. He barely survived. We can't hold much longer. Daewon shouted. Jinwoo made a decision. Fall back to the control room. We'll defend from there. They retreated inside, sealing the heavy door behind them. The Wrath pounded on it. The metal groaned but held. 4 hours left, Hana reported. Can you hold? Jinwoo looked around the control room. It was designed to be defended. Reinforced walls. Limited entry points. He had lived here for 3 months. He knew every advantage it offered. We'll hold, he said. The Wrath tried to blast through the door. They used explosives. Energy weapons. Nothing worked. The door was military grade, designed to survive exactly this kind of assault. So they tried something different. They started cutting through the walls. That's not good, Jaewon said. Sparks flew as Wrath cutting tools sliced through the concrete. 3 different spots. They were making doors of their own. Cover those positions, Jinwoo ordered. The first wall section fell inward. Wrath warriors poured through. Jaewon opened fire, cutting down the first 5. But more kept coming. Too many. Yoon threw a grenade. The explosion bought them seconds. Only seconds. Daewon was bleeding from a wound on his arm. Jaewon's heavy weapon was nearly out of ammunition. Yoon looked terrified, and Jinwoo felt the weight of 3 months crushing down on him. I'm sorry, he said to them. I got you all killed. Shut up, Daewon replied, firing his rifle. We chose to come. We're not dead yet, Jaewon added. A Wrath warrior grabbed Yoon, the young soldier screamed. Jinwoo shot the warrior 3 times. Yoon fell free, gasping. 3 hours, Hana's voice said. She sounded far away. Jinwoo's rifle clicked empty. He drew his sidearm. Then his knife. The Wrath kept coming. There were too many. Far too many. This is it, Daewon said. He was down to his last magazine. This is it, Jinwoo agreed. Then something changed. The Wrath stopped attacking. They pulled back from the control room. All of them. At once. What's happening? Yoon asked. Jinwoo looked at his tactical display. His eyes went wide. The main position. They're attacking Taehyun. The Vrath had split their forces. Half stayed to pin down Jinwoo's team. The other half went to attack the main coalition defense. They were trying to take both positions at once. "Hana, the main position is under attack," Jinwoo said into his comm. Static. "Hana." More static. Then her voice, broken and distant. "We know they're hitting us hard." "Can you hold?" Jinwoo looked at his team. 3 exhausted soldiers, almost no ammunition, surrounded by 1,000 Vrath warriors who were simply waiting for the word to finish them. "Yes," he lied. "We can hold." He turned off his comm and looked at Daewon, Jaewon, and Yoon. "I need to tell you something," he said. "The truth." "What truth?" Daewon asked. "We're not going to make it," Jinwoo said. "We can't hold for 3 more hours. We'll be overrun in 1. So what do we do?" Yoon asked. Jinwoo pulled up the artillery control system. "We fire early. We won't get full power, won't kill all of them, but we might kill enough to save the main position." "What happens to us?" Jaewon asked. "We die," Jinwoo said simply. "The blast will hit this position too. We're in the kill zone." The room went silent. 3 soldiers looked at Jinwoo, then at each other, then back at Jinwoo. "I didn't tell you before because I needed you focused," Jinwoo continued. "But you deserve to know. If we fire now, we save the main position. We save 200 coalition soldiers. But we don't survive." Daewon laughed. It was a bitter sound. "All this time you were planning to die here." "I've been planning to die here for 83 days, Jinwoo admitted. "I just kept not dying." Yoon sat down hard. He was crying. "I don't want to die." "Neither do I," Jinwoo said. "But I want those 200 soldiers to live more." "You should have told us," Daewon said. "I know, we should have a choice." "You do," Jinwoo replied. "I can't fire this system without a 4-person authorization. You 3 can refuse. We wait for the full charge. Maybe survive somehow. Or you can authorize. We save the main position. We save the mission." He looked at each of them.
"What do you choose?"
Jaewon stood up first. He walked to the control panel. "I authorize," he said. "Better to die saving people than to die for nothing." Daewon followed. "I authorize. For everyone we couldn't save." They both looked at Yoon. The young private was still crying, still terrified. But he stood up. His legs shook. His hands trembled. But he stood. "I authorize," Yoon whispered. Jinwoo closed his eyes. "Thank you," he said. Then he entered his own authorization code. The sky turned white. Then it turned to fire. Artillery shells screamed down from orbit. Hundreds of them. They struck the Vrath army with the force of thunder. The ground shook so hard that Jinwoo was thrown off his feet. The walls cracked. The ceiling rained dust. "Take cover!" Jinwoo shouted, but there was nowhere to cover. The bombardment was everywhere. Jinwoo curled up against the control panel, arms over his head. He waited for death. It didn't come. The shelling lasted 3 minutes. Then silence. A silence so complete it hurt his ears. Jinwoo opened his eyes. He was alive. They were all alive. The control room had held. Its reinforced walls had protected them from the blast. "Status," he croaked. "Alive," Daewon replied. He was bleeding from his forehead but moving. "Alive," Jaewon confirmed. He helped Yoon sit up. Yoon just nodded. He couldn't speak yet. Jinwoo crawled to the tactical display. Most of it was damaged, but one screen still worked. He pulled up the battlefield view. The Vrath army was gone. Not destroyed completely, but broken. Hundreds dead. The survivors were retreating, running. The coordinated assault had become a panicked rout. "We did it," Jinwoo whispered. "We actually did it." His comm crackled to life. "Jinwoo?" Jinwoo responded. It was Hana's voice. "I'm here," Jinwoo replied. "We're all here. You're alive? How?" "The control room held," Jinwoo explained. "We're alive." There was a pause. Then Taehyun's voice came through. "The Vrath are retreating. The bombardment broke them. You saved us, Corporal. You saved all of us." Jinwoo closed his eyes. For 83 days he had fought to stay alive, to hold his position, to complete his mission. And now it was over. "Actually over. Can you move?" Taehyun asked. "I think so," Jinwoo replied. "Stay there. We're sending a team to get you." Jinwoo laughed. It came out as a sob. "I've been waiting for that team for 83 days. "Well, it's coming now," Taehyun said. "Hold your position just a little longer." "Yes, sir," Jinwoo replied. Major Kyung-soo's rescue team arrived 40 minutes later. They found 4 soldiers sitting in the ruins of the command post, too tired to celebrate, too grateful to cry. They just sat there, breathing, alive. "Let's go home," Kyung-soo said softly. They carried Yoon. He had passed out from exhaustion. Jae-won limped on a twisted ankle. Dae-won walked on his own but needed help twice. Jin-woo refused assistance until his legs gave out halfway back. Then 2 soldiers supported him the rest of the way. The main coalition position looked like it had survived a war, which it had. 80 soldiers wounded, 12 dead, but they had held. The Vrath retreat was confirmed. The sector was secure. Dr. Soo-jin met them at the medical tent. She was a small woman with quick hands and sharp eyes. She took one look at Jin-woo and pointed to a bed. "Sit," she ordered. "I'm fine," Jin-woo replied. "You're not fine. You're malnourished, dehydrated, suffering from exhaustion, and probably have 3 kinds of infection. Sit." Jin-woo sat. Dr. Soo-jin worked on him for an hour. IV fluids, antibiotics, pain medication that he tried to refuse and she made him take anyway. When she was done, she looked at him seriously. "You should be dead," she said. "Medically speaking, you should have collapsed weeks ago." "Didn't have time to collapse," Jin-woo replied. "Well, you have time now," Dr. Soo-jin said. "Sleep, that's an order." Jin-woo tried to stay awake. He had trained himself to sleep only 30 minutes at a time for 3 months. But the medicine and exhaustion and relief all combined. He fell asleep sitting up. He slept for 16 hours straight. When he woke up, Private Bora was sitting next to his bed. "Welcome back," she said. Jin-woo looked around. He was in a proper medical facility now, not a tent. They had moved him to a coalition ship in orbit. "How long?" he asked. 16 hours, Bora replied. "You needed it." Jin-woo tried to stand. His legs shook but held. "The others?" he asked. "Yoon is fine. Scared and tired, but fine. Jae-won has a broken ankle. Dae-won needed stitches. Everyone survived." Jin-woo nodded. "That was good. That was very good. There are people who want to see you," Bora said. "Important people. They're calling you a hero." "I'm not a hero," Jin-woo replied. "I just followed my orders." "You held a position alone for 83 days, Bora said. "That's the definition of a hero." "Heroes don't survive," Jin-woo replied. "Heroes die saving people." "I'm just lucky," Bora smiled sadly. "Maybe you're both. Lucky and a hero." The important people came that afternoon. Captain Tae-hyun, Major Kyung-soo, even Colonel Eunji, who commanded the entire fleet. They wanted to give Jin-woo a medal, the coalition's highest honor for valor. "I can't accept this," Jin-woo said. "Why not?" Colonel Eunji asked. "Because I had help," Jin-woo replied. Dae-won, Jae-won, Yoon. They held that position with me at the end. "They deserve this more. They're getting medals too," Eunji assured him. "But you held for 83 days alone. That deserves recognition." Jin-woo looked at the medal. It was a small piece of metal. It felt heavy in his hands. "Lieutenant Sungmin should get this," Jin-woo said. He gave the order. He trusted me to follow it, and Mireille, who died buying us time, and Dal and Tae-yang. They all held that position. I was just the last one standing. "We'll honor them," Tae-hyun promised. "Their names will be remembered. But you're the one who held. You're the one who refused to quit." Jin-woo looked at the medal for a long time. Then he accepted it, not for himself, but for everyone who had held that position, everyone who had trusted him to finish what they started. "Thank you," he said quietly. The ceremony was small. Jin-woo stood with Dae-won, Jae-won, and Yoon, 4 soldiers who had held an impossible position, 4 soldiers who had chosen duty over survival, 4 soldiers who had somehow survived anyway. Hana recorded everything for the military archives. Her report would become required reading at every coalition military academy. The story of Corporal Jin-woo and the 83-day stand at Threshold 7. After the ceremony, Jin-woo walked to the observation deck. He looked down at the planet below, at grid sector 47 where he had lived for 3 months, where his friends had died, where he had held a line that nobody thought mattered. Dae-won found him there. "What are you thinking?" Dae-won asked. "I'm thinking about going back," Jin-woo replied. "They need someone to train soldiers, to teach them how to hold positions, how to survive when everything goes wrong." "You want to go back to fighting?" Dae-won asked. "I want to go back to helping," Jin-woo corrected, "so that the next soldier who gets left behind knows how to survive. So that the next position that needs holding has someone who knows how." That's a good plan, Day One said. Want some company? I could use a change. Forward positions aren't so scary anymore. Jinwoo smiled. I'd like that. They stood together watching the planet below. Two soldiers who had learned what it meant to hold a line. Two soldiers who would make sure others learned the same lesson. 1 year later, a monument was built at Grid Sector 47. It was simple. Just a wall with names carved into it. Lieutenant Sung Min, Specialist Mi-rae, Private Dahl, Private Ta-young, and a plaque that read, "They held this position. They gave their lives for duty. They will not be forgotten." Jinwoo visited on the anniversary with Daewon, Hana, Jaewon, Yoon, and dozens of others who had fought at Threshold 7. They stood in silence for a while. Then Jinwoo placed a small marker at the base of the wall. It read, "They ordered me to hold, so I held. You would have done the same." As they walked away, Yoon asked, "Do you still have nightmares?" "Every night," Jinwoo admitted. "But they're different now. Now I dream about the people I saved instead of the people I lost." "Is that better?" Yoon asked. "It's different," Jinwoo replied. "Different is enough." They left the monument behind. But the story stayed. The story of a single soldier who held a position for 83 days because he was given an order. The story of a man who refused to quit even when quitting was the logical choice. The story of what humans could do when losing wasn't an option. The Vrath Empire heard the story too. They learned that humans didn't calculate survival odds the way other species did. Humans added variables that made no logical sense. Stubbornness, duty, the refusal to let down the people counting on them. Other battles came. Other fronts opened. But the Vrath never again assumed that a position defended by humans would be easy to take, because there might be another Jinwoo there, another soldier who simply refused to lose. And in military academies across coalition space, instructors taught a new lesson. When the situation is impossible, when logic says to retreat, when everything is against you, remember Grid Sector 47. Remember Corporal Jinwoo. Remember that sometimes holding the line is all that matters. Jinwoo became an instructor just as he planned. He taught survival tactics, defensive strategy, how to turn hopeless situations into possibilities. His classes were always full. Young soldiers wanted to learn from the man who held for 83 days. On quiet nights, he would sit with his old team, Daewon, Hana, Jaewon, Yoon. They would share stories and remember what they had been through. They had all moved forward with their lives, but they would always be connected by those days at Threshold 7. "Do you regret it?" Hana asked him once. "Staying alone for so long?" Jinwoo thought about it. About the fear, the loneliness, the constant fighting, the weight of duty. "No," he said finally. "I did what I was supposed to do. I held my position. People lived because I held. That's enough."